The Horizon Dawn moved slowly through the empty space. It was the first ship from Earth to travel this far. 300 people lived on the ship. They had left their home planet 2 years ago. Their mission was simple: find new worlds, find new life, find hope for humanity. Captain Sung stood on the bridge. He was a tall man with tired eyes but a sharp mind. He had led this crew through many dangers: asteroid fields, engine failures, food shortages, but they had survived everything. Now they were in a part of space no human had ever seen before. Lieutenant sat at her station. She watched the radar screen with careful eyes. She was the tactical officer. Her job was to keep everyone safe. She was young but very skilled. The crew trusted her with their lives. Dr. Wu Jin walked onto the bridge. He was the chief scientist. He spent most of his time in the laboratory, but today he wanted to see the stars. They looked different here: brighter, closer, more beautiful than anything he had ever seen. "Captain," he said, "we are making history today." Sung nodded. "Let us hope it is good history." The ship continued forward. Everything was quiet, too quiet, felt something strange in her stomach. She had learned to trust this feeling. It had saved her life many times before. Then the alarm started. Red lights flashed across the bridge. Looked at her screen. Her face went pale. "Captain," she said, "we have a contact, a very big contact." Sung walked to her station. He looked at the screen. What he saw made his heart stop for a moment. A ship was coming toward them, but it was not like any ship he had ever seen. It was massive, 10 times bigger than the Horizon Dawn, maybe more. "What is that?" asked Wu Jin. Before anyone could answer, the communication system made a loud noise. Someone was trying to talk to them. Sung looked at his crew. They were scared. He could see it in their eyes, but he could not show fear. Not now. "Open the channel," he said. The screen flickered. Then a face appeared, but it was not a human face. It was something else entirely. The creature had green skin covered in scales. Its eyes were yellow with black slits in the middle. Sharp teeth filled its mouth. It looked like a monster from a nightmare. The creature spoke. Its voice was deep and cold. "You are in territory. You will surrender your ship. You will surrender your crew. Resistance means death." Sung felt his hands shake, but he kept his voice steady. "We are explorers from Earth. We mean no harm. We did not know this was your territory." The creature laughed. It was an ugly sound. "It does not matter what you knew. It does not matter what you want. They take what they want. We have conquered 200 star systems. We have destroyed 1,000 species. You are nothing. You are insects." The screen showed more of the alien ship. Sung could see weapons everywhere. Big guns, missile launchers, things he could not even name. The Horizon Dawn was a research ship. It had a few small weapons for emergencies. Against this monster they had nothing. Lieutenant leaned close to the captain. "Sir, we cannot fight them. We need to run." Wu Jin shook his head. "Maybe we can talk to them, find some way to negotiate." The alien spoke again. "You have 1 minute to lower your shields and prepare for boarding. After that, we will destroy you." Sung looked around the bridge. He saw his crew. Some were crying, some were praying. Some were just staring at the screen with empty eyes. They had come so far. They had worked so hard. Was this how it would end? Then something happened inside Sung. Something changed. He thought about Earth. He thought about his family. He thought about every person who had ever believed in this mission. He thought about what it meant to be human. Humans did not give up. They never had. Through wars and plagues and disasters, humans had always fought. They had always survived. They had always found a way. "No," said Sung. Looked at him, "Captain." I said no. His voice was stronger now. "We will not surrender." The alien on the screen seemed confused. "You refuse. You understand that you will die." "Maybe," said Sung. "But we will not go quietly. We will not bow down to you. If you want this ship, you will have to take it." The alien stared at him for a long moment. Then it smiled. A terrible, hungry smile. "Very well, human, we will enjoy this." The screen went dark. Grabbed Sung's arm. "Captain, what are you doing? They will kill us all." "Perhaps," said Sung, "but I will not hand my crew over to monsters. If we die fighting." He pressed a button on his chair. His voice echoed through the entire ship. "All hands, this is your captain. We are about to be boarded by hostile aliens. They are bigger than us, stronger than us. They have better weapons and more soldiers, but I do not care. We are human beings. We do not surrender. We do not give up. Every person who can fight, report to your stations. We are going to show these creatures what humans are made of." Across the ship, people stopped crying. They stopped praying. They picked up weapons. They moved to their positions. Fear was still in their hearts, but something else was there too, something stronger than fear. Pride. On the alien ship, Commander Lyra watched the humans prepare. She had conquered many worlds. She had seen many species beg for mercy, but she had never seen this. These tiny, soft creatures were going to fight. She laughed again. "Prepare the boarding party. This will be amusing." She had no idea what was waiting for her. The boarding ship attached to the horizon dawn with a loud crash. Metal screamed against metal. The airlock doors began to melt as the aliens cut through them with powerful lasers. Commander Lyra led 50 of her best warriors. Each one was over 8 feet tall. Their bodies were covered in natural armor. Their claws could cut through steel. They carried plasma rifles that could burn a hole through a wall. They had conquered hundreds of worlds together. They had never lost a battle. The airlock door fell. Smoke filled the corridor. Lyra stepped inside first. She expected to see humans waiting with their hands up. She expected to hear them cry and beg for mercy. That was how it always happened. But she saw nothing. The corridor was empty, and it was dark, very dark. "Where are the lights?" asked one of her soldiers. Lyra felt something strange, a feeling she had not felt in many years. Was this fear? No, that was impossible. They did not feel fear, they caused fear. "Move forward," she ordered. "Find them." The warriors moved into the ship. Their eyes could see in the dark better than human eyes, but something was wrong. The ship was too quiet. Where were the humans? Then it began. The first explosion came from above. A ceiling panel fell and crushed 2 soldiers. Before anyone could react, gunfire erupted from a side vent. 3 more soldiers dropped to the ground. Lyra screamed orders. Her warriors fired their weapons everywhere, but they could not see their enemies. The humans were hiding. They were shooting from holes in the walls, from behind pipes, from places too small for any to fit. Sergeant led the defense. She was the head of the Marine unit. She was not big, she was not strong, but she was smart and she was brave. She had studied every corner of this ship. She knew every shadow, every tunnel, every hiding spot. "Hit them and move," she told her soldiers. "Never stay in one place, never let them see you." The humans fought like ghosts. They appeared from nowhere, fired their weapons, and vanished. They set traps in the corridors. They cut power cables so the aliens could not use their advanced equipment. They filled some areas with smoke. They made the ship into a maze of death. Engineer Ho worked in the shadows. He was not a fighter. His hands built things, not destroyed them. But today, he used his skills differently. He rigged old batteries to explode. He created fake walls that fell on enemies. He even used the ship's fire system to spray burning chemicals on the alien soldiers. Lyra lost 10 soldiers in the first 5 minutes, then 10 more. Her warriors were confused. They were trained to fight armies in open battles. They were trained to crush enemies with pure power. But these humans did not fight like that. They fought like insects, like shadows, like nightmares. "What are these creatures?" one of her soldiers shouted before a bullet found his throat. Lyra felt real fear now. She had never seen anything like this. These humans were smaller and weaker. Their weapons were primitive. They should have died in seconds, but they were not dying. Her soldiers were dying instead. Dr. Wu Jin stayed in the medical bay. He was not a fighter either, but he had his own job to do. When wounded soldiers were brought to him, he fixed them as fast as he could. He sent them back to fight, and when the fighting moved close to the medical bay, he picked up a weapon too. Then something unexpected happened. A wounded soldier crawled into the medical bay. He had lost one arm. Green blood poured from his body. He looked up at Wu Jin with dying eyes. Any other species would have killed the doctor immediately, but this soldier was too weak. He could only wait for death. Wu Jin looked at the alien. He saw a creature who had wanted to kill him and his friends. He saw an enemy, but he also saw something else. He saw a living being in pain. He put down his weapon. He walked to the soldier, and he began to treat the wounds. The soldier stared at him with wide eyes. "What are you doing?" "I am a doctor," said Wu Jin simply. "I help people who are hurt." "I am your enemy." "Yes, but you are also dying, and I do not let beings die if I can save them." The soldier was confused. This made no sense to him. The way was simple: kill or be killed, destroy or be destroyed. There was no mercy, there was no compassion. These things were weaknesses. But this human was saving his life. This human, who had every reason to hate him, was showing kindness. "Why?" the soldier asked. Wu Jin smiled softly. "Because this is what humans do. We fight when we must, but we also heal, we also forgive. We are more than warriors. We are beings who believe in something greater than war." The soldier said nothing, but something changed in his eyes. Something deep inside him shifted. Back in the corridors, Lyra was desperate. She had lost half her soldiers. The humans were everywhere and nowhere. Every time she thought she had found them, they vanished. Every time she moved forward, she walked into a trap. Finally, she gave the order she had never given before. "Retreat! Everyone fall back to the ship." The surviving soldiers ran. They actually ran from a fight. They ran from creatures half their size. They ran from humans. Lyra returned to her warship. She stood on the bridge and looked at the horizon dawn. Such a small ship, such small creatures, but they had defeated her. They had killed 30 of her best warriors. She opened a communication channel to Warlord. His face appeared on the screen. He was the most powerful alive. He ruled an empire of 200 star systems. "Commander," he said, "report." Lyra took a deep breath. "My lord, we have found something, a new species. They call themselves humans." "And did you conquer them?" Lyra paused. "No, my lord, they fought back. They killed 30 of my soldiers. I was forced to retreat." Was silent for a long moment. His eyes narrowed. 30 soldiers against a single ship. "Yes, my lord. These humans are unlike anything we have ever seen. They do not fight fair. They do not surrender. They do not fear death. They are dangerous." Leaned forward. "Dangerous? Interesting. Very interesting. It has been a long time since we found a species worth fighting. Prepare your fleet, Commander. We will visit these humans ourselves." Lyra bowed. "Yes, my lord." On the horizon dawn, Captain Sung stood among his wounded crew. They had won. They had actually won. But he knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would return, and next time they would bring more ships, more soldiers, more weapons. "What do we do now, Captain?" asked Lieutenant. Sung looked at the stars. "Now we send a message to Earth. We tell them what happened here. We tell them that we are not alone in the universe. And we tell them to prepare, because war is coming." The horizon dawn turned toward home. Behind them, the fleet was already growing. The news traveled faster than light itself. Across the galaxy, every species heard the same story. A small ship of unknown creatures had fought and won. They had killed 30 elite warriors. They had made Commander Lyra retreat. No one had ever done this before. The Galactic Council met on a giant space station in neutral territory. Representatives from 60 different species gathered in a great hall. They sat in a circle, their faces showing shock and curiosity and fear. Elder stood at the center. He was ancient, even by alien standards. His skin was gray and wrinkled. His eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 years. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had watched species become great and then fade into nothing. He was the voice of reason in a galaxy of chaos. "We have a problem," he said slowly. "They are angry. Warlord is gathering his fleet. He will not rest until these humans are destroyed." A representative from a small, blue-skinned species spoke up. "But who are these humans? Where did they come from?" "They come from a planet called Earth," said, "a small world in a quiet corner of the galaxy. We never noticed them before. They were too primitive, too weak, or so we thought." Another representative, a tall being with 4 arms, shook his head. "This is bad news for all of us. If goes to war, the whole galaxy will suffer. They will want revenge. They will become more cruel, more violent." "Then perhaps," said a quiet voice, "these humans should surrender. Let the have them save the rest of us." The hall fell silent. Many heads nodded. It was a cold suggestion, but it made sense. Why should the entire galaxy suffer for one small species? Then the doors of the great hall opened. Captain Sung walked in. Every eye turned to look at him. The representatives saw a creature unlike anything they had imagined. He was so small. His skin was so soft. He had no claws, no armor, no scales. He looked fragile, weak, helpless. How could this be the being who defeated the... Sung walked to the center of the hall. He stood before Elder. His heart was beating fast. He was nervous, but he did not let it show on his face. "Thank you for inviting me," he said. "I am Captain Sung of the Earth ship Horizon Dawn." Looked at him with careful eyes. "You have caused quite a storm, Captain. They are not happy." "Neither am I," said Sung. "They attacked my ship without warning. They tried to take my crew as slaves. I did what any good captain would do. I protected my people. And now Warlord is coming for you. He has 500 warships. You have one. What do you think will happen?" Sung was quiet for a moment. He knew the answer. He knew that Earth had only 50 ships in its entire fleet. Against 500 warships they had no chance. "I do not know," he admitted, "but I know that we will fight. Humans do not surrender." A laugh came from somewhere in the hall. Brave words from a dead species. But not everyone was laughing. Some representatives were watching Sung with different eyes, eyes full of hope. One of them was a small female from a species called the Vel. Her people were gentle and kind. They had been nearly destroyed by They had lost their home world. They lived now as refugees, scattered across the galaxy. After the meeting, she found Sung in the hallway. She was even smaller than him. Her skin was purple, her eyes were large and sad. "Captain," she said softly, "may I speak with you?" Sung stopped. "Of course." "My name is Myra. I am the last representative of the Vel that took everything from us. Our world, our families, our hope." She paused, her voice trembling. "But when I heard what you did, something inside me woke up. Something I thought was dead forever." Sung listened carefully. "You showed us that they can be defeated," Myra continued. "You showed us that small does not mean weak, that soft does not mean helpless. Captain, I must ask you a question." "Ask it." "Can you teach us? Can you teach the Vel to fight like humans?" Sung felt the weight of her words. This was not just about Earth anymore. This was about the entire galaxy, about every species that had suffered under about every world that had been conquered, about every being that had lost hope. "They are strong," he said. "They have been winning for a very long time. I cannot promise victory." "I do not ask for promises," said Myra. "I ask only for a chance to stand up, a chance to fight back, a chance to die with dignity instead of living as slaves." Sung looked at her. He saw the pain in her eyes. He saw the hope. He saw something that reminded him of his own people. "Yes," he said finally, "I will teach you, and not just the Vel. Anyone who wants to learn, anyone who wants to fight, we will face the together." Myra smiled for the first time in years. Tears ran down her purple cheeks. "Thank you, Captain, thank you." Back on Earth, the message from Sung arrived. The world leaders gathered to hear it. His voice came through the speakers, calm but serious. "To the people of Earth, I have news that will change everything. We are not alone in the universe. There are thousands of species out there. Some are friendly, some are not. One species, called the, has decided to destroy us. They are powerful, they are cruel, and they are coming. But I also have good news. We are not facing them alone. Other species have suffered under the. They are tired of living in fear. They want to fight. They need our help. I am asking Earth to send every ship we have. I am asking for soldiers, for scientists, for engineers. I am asking for everything. This is not just about saving humanity. This is about changing the galaxy. This is about showing every living being that fear does not have to win, that tyranny can be defeated, that hope is stronger than any weapon. Send the fleet, we are going to war." The message ended. For a long moment the room was silent. Then someone started clapping, then another, then everyone. Earth would answer the call. Far across the galaxy, Warlord smiled as his fleet grew larger every day. He thought about the tiny humans who had dared to resist him. They were brave, he had to admit, but bravery meant nothing against 500 warships. He would crush them, he would burn their world, he would erase their name from history. Or so he thought. 6 months passed, the galaxy was changing. On a small moon near the nebula, a training camp had grown. What started with a few hundred volunteers had become an army. Species from 12 different worlds came together here. They came to learn. They came to fight. They came to take back their freedom. Captain Sung stood on a hill, watching the training below. Creatures of all sizes and shapes were running, climbing, practicing with weapons. Some had wings. Some had tails. Some had bodies so different from humans that they needed special equipment. But they all shared one thing. They were tired of being afraid. Lieutenant walked up beside him. She was no longer a lieutenant. Earth had promoted her to commander. She now led the carrier ship Iron Will, one of the 50 human vessels that had finally arrived. "It is amazing," she said. "I never thought I would see this." Sung nodded. "Neither did I, but here we are, the Free Worlds Alliance. That is what they are calling it." Down on the training ground, Sergeant was working with a group of Vel soldiers. The Vel were small and gentle. They had never held weapons before, but was patient. She showed them how to aim, how to move, how to hide and strike. "They are bigger than you," she told them. "So do not fight them face to face. Use your size, be quick, be clever, hit them where they do not expect, then disappear before they can hit you back." A young Vel soldier raised her hand. "But what if we are scared?" Smiled. "Good question. The answer is simple. You will be scared. Fear is natural. Even humans feel fear. The trick is not to remove fear. The trick is to act even when you are afraid. That is what courage is. Not the absence of fear, but action despite fear." The Vel soldier nodded slowly. She understood. In another part of the camp, Dr. Wu Jin was working with alien scientists. They sat around tables covered with weapons and tools. Every species had different bodies. Human weapons did not work for everyone, so they had to adapt. Wu Jin held up a small device. "This is a basic human grenade. It works well for us because we have hands that can grip and throw, but some of you do not have hands like ours, so we made changes." He pressed a button. The grenade opened to show a different mechanism inside. Now it can be attached to a belt and activated by a simple touch, or it can be dropped from above for those who can fly, or it can be rolled along the ground for those who are low to the surface. An alien scientist with 6 eyes examined the device. "You humans think of everything." Wu Jin shook his head. "No, we just refuse to give up. If one thing does not work, we try another, and another, and another, until we find something that does." Engineer Ho was doing similar work with the ships. Many of the alien vessels were old and damaged. They had been hiding for years, running from the... They were not built for war. Ho changed that. He walked through a repair yard filled with ships of every shape. His hands were covered in grease and his face was tired, but his eyes were bright with purpose. "This ship," he said, pointing to a battered freighter, "can be fitted with missile launchers. This one can carry troops for boarding missions. This one is fast enough to be a scout. Nothing is useless. Everything can serve a purpose." A young human engineer looked at the pile of broken ships. "But how do we fix them all? There are hundreds." Ho smiled. "We do not do it alone, we teach. We share. Every species has something to offer. The Vel are excellent at electrical work. The Tauren are masters of metal. The humans are good at putting things together. When we combine our skills, we become stronger than any of us alone." As the weeks passed, the army grew. More species joined. Some came with ships. Some came with weapons. Some came with nothing but the clothes on their backs and the anger in their hearts. Sung welcomed them all. One night, Myra found him standing alone under the stars. He was looking at the distant light of the nebula. That was where the battle would happen. That was where everything would be decided. "Are you afraid, Captain?" she asked. Sung did not answer immediately. He thought about his family on Earth. He thought about his crew. He thought about all the beings who were counting on him. "Yes," he said finally, "I am afraid. They have 500 ships. We have maybe 100. Many of our soldiers have never fought before. Many of our ships are old and weak. By every measure, we should lose." "Then why do you keep going?" Sung turned to look at her. "Because sometimes the numbers do not tell the whole story. Sometimes the smaller force wins. Sometimes the weak defeat the strong. It has happened many times in human history, and it can happen again." "How?" Myra asked. "By fighting smarter, by caring more, by never giving up. The fight because they want power, they want conquest. But we fight because we want to be free. That difference matters. It matters more than all the ships and all the weapons in the galaxy." Myra was quiet for a moment, then she spoke again. "My people have a saying, the smallest light can push back the largest darkness. I never understood it before, but I think I do now." Sung put his hand on her shoulder. "Tomorrow, we show the galaxy that light." The next morning, scouts reported that the fleet had arrived. 500 warships, just as expected. They were gathering at the edge of the nebula. Warlord was on his flagship, a massive destroyer that was bigger than a small moon. Sung stood on the bridge of the Horizon Dawn. Around him, his crew was ready. Commander was on the Iron Will. Sergeant was leading the strike teams. Dr. Wu Jin was in the medical bay. Engineer Ho was keeping the engines running. And behind them, the Free Worlds Alliance waited. 100 ships, 12 species, thousands of beings who had chosen hope over fear. Sung opened a communication channel. His voice went out to every ship in the fleet, but he knew they could hear him too. He wanted them to hear. "Soldiers of the Free Worlds Alliance," he said, "today we face the enemy. They are many, we are few. They have ruled this galaxy through fear for too long. Today we end their reign. Today we show them what free beings can do when they stand together. They taught the galaxy to fear. We will teach it to fight." Across the fleet, voices cheered. Weapons powered up. Engines roared to life. On his flagship, Warlord watched the tiny fleet approach. He laughed. "So they actually came. How brave, how stupid." He turned to his officers. "Destroy them all." The Battle of Nebula began. The nebula burned with the light of war. Warships fired their weapons. Beams of energy cut through space. Missiles flew like angry stars. The sky became a sea of fire and death. But the Alliance fleet did not break. They scattered into the nebula. The gas clouds hid them. The electromagnetic fields confused the sensors. Instead of one big target, they had to chase 100 small ones. Commander led her squadron through the chaos. Her voice was calm even as explosions shook her ship. All ships, remember the plan, hit and run. Do not stay in one place. Make them chase you. The Alliance ships were faster and smaller. They moved through the nebula like fish through water. They appeared from clouds of gas, fired their weapons, and vanished before they could respond. They were confused. They were used to standing battles. They were used to crushing their enemies with pure power. But these enemies would not stand still. They would not fight fair. Warlord watched from his flagship. His smile was gone. Why can we not hit them? They are right there. One of his officers spoke nervously. The nebula is blocking our targeting systems, my lord, and they keep moving. They are using tactics we have never seen. Then send more ships, overwhelm them. But numbers did not matter in the nebula. The bigger ships could not turn fast enough. They crashed into each other. They got lost in the gas clouds. They became frustrated and angry. And angry soldiers make mistakes. Engineer Ho had prepared special surprises. Old freighters filled with explosives were hidden throughout the nebula. When ships passed near them, they exploded. They lost 20 ships in the first hour without even seeing their enemy. Dr. Woojin worked in the medical bay of the Horizon Dawn. Wounded soldiers were brought to him constantly. He fixed them as fast as he could. His hands never stopped. His focus never broke. Every life he saved was another fighter who could return to battle. On the Iron Will, Commander made a decision. We cannot win by just defending. We need to take out their leader. If falls, they will lose their will to fight. She opened a channel to Captain Sung. Captain, I have an idea, but it is dangerous. Tell me. We send a strike team to his flagship, board the ship, find, kill him. Sung was quiet for a moment. He knew this meant sending soldiers into the heart of the enemy fleet. Many would die, maybe all of them. Who will lead the team? He asked. I will go myself, said a voice. It was Sergeant. This is what I trained my whole life for. Sung felt his heart grow heavy, was like a sister to him. He did not want to lose her, but he also knew she was right. She was the best soldier they had. If anyone could succeed, it was her. Be careful, he said. Smiled. I am always careful, Captain. See you after the war. The strike team left in 3 small transport ships. They moved through the battle, dodging missiles and beams of energy. 2 ships were destroyed before they reached the flagship, but the ship made it. They crashed into the side of his destroyer. Alarms screamed. Soldiers rushed to stop them, but her team were ready. They fought through the corridors with desperate fury. The battle was brutal. Lost soldier after soldier. A Vel warrior fell protecting her back. A human marine gave his life to clear a path. A Tauran fighter died holding a doorway so others could escape. Kept going. She was wounded in the arm, then in the leg. Blood ran down her body, but she did not stop. She could not stop. Too many had died to get her this far. Finally, she reached the command deck. The doors opened, and there was. The warlord was even bigger than she had imagined. He stood 9 feet tall. His armor gleamed in the light. In his hand was a sword as long as was tall. So, he said, a human, you came all this way to die. Raised her weapon, I came to end you. Laughed, I have killed thousands of beings. You think you are different. Let's find out. They fought, was faster than anything his size should be. His sword cut through the air like lightning. He struck again and again. She blocked some blows, others found her body. She was losing, she knew it. He was too strong, too skilled, too experienced. But she did not give up. Every time he knocked her down, she got back up. Every time he cut her, she attacked again. Her weapon broke. She grabbed a piece of metal from the floor. It broke too. She used her bare hands. Stared at her. He had never seen anything like this. Why? He demanded. Why do you keep fighting? You cannot win. Spat blood on the floor. Because that is what humans do. We do not know how to give up. We do not know how to stop. You can kill me, but you cannot break me. She charged at him one more time. He swung his sword. It cut deep into her chest, but she did not fall. She used the last of her strength to drive a blade into his throat. They fell together. On the bridge of the flagship, alarms went crazy. The warlord is dead. The warlord is dead. The news spread through the fleet like fire. Their leader was gone. The being they had followed for centuries was dead, killed by a creature half his size. The captains panicked. Some tried to take command, others fled. The fleet that had been so organized fell into chaos. Commander saw the confusion. All ships attack, push them back, now is our chance. The Alliance fleet surged forward. For the first time, they went on the offensive. They hit the ships with everything they had. One by one, the enemy vessels exploded or retreated. By the time the battle ended, they had lost 200 ships. The rest fled into deep space. For the first time in their history, the mighty empire had been defeated. Captain Sung stood on the bridge of the Horizon Dawn. He watched the last enemy ships disappear. Around him, his crew was cheering. They had won. Against all odds, they had actually won. But Sung felt no joy. He thought about Sergeant. He thought about all the soldiers who had died. Victory had cost them so much. Hours later, they found on the enemy flagship. She was still alive. Barely. Dr. Woojin worked for days to save her. When she finally opened her eyes, the first face she saw was Captain Sung. "Did we win?" she whispered. He smiled through his tears. "Yes, we won, you won." The news of the Battle of Nebula traveled across the galaxy. The empire, which had seemed unbeatable, began to fall apart. Systems that had been conquered for centuries rose up in rebellion. The Free World's alliance grew stronger every day. Myra returned to her people with the news. For the first time in generations, the Vel had hope. They began to rebuild. They began to dream again. 1 year later, Captain Sung stood on the bridge of the Horizon Dawn. The ship had been repaired and improved. His crew was healthy. The war was over. Commander walked up to him. "So, Captain, what now?" Sung looked at the stars. There were so many of them, so many places to explore, so many wonders waiting to be discovered. "Now," he said with a smile, "we do what we came here to do, we explore." The Horizon Dawn turned toward the unknown. Behind them, the galaxy was forever changed. They would never again rule through fear. The free species of the galaxy stood together as equals. And everywhere, the same story was told. The story of the small creatures from a tiny planet called Earth. The creatures who did not know how to surrender. The creatures who taught the galaxy that hope was stronger than fear. The humans. The end.